Hello guys, welcome in the next video of the Databricks series. In this video, let's go through how to use Pyspark JSON example in Databricks. We are taking as simple as, so we don't have any issue in understanding. Let's click on Pyspark JSON notebook, where we need to understand how Pyspark data frame to table works in SQL and in Python. As you can see, our Python interpreter is selected and our cluster is also up and running. Let's go in the first cell. We are having our JSON type data, and you can see we have few key value pair records, and you can see we are only starting using a very simple JSON file, which we want to read in Pyspark or Databricks and create a data frame object. If data frame object is created, then further we can use any where this data frame object. To create the data frame object or DF object, we are using same Spark implicit object, and we are using read object from Spark. We are making this multiple equals to true because it can handle simple and complicated JSON file. Let's execute the cell. We already uploaded this file, one JSON file into catalog or DBFS location, which you can also see on the top of the cell. We are printing the content of that particular file for better understanding. As you can see, we have few columns and one record available from the JSON file. So key is becoming column name and values are in the first record of O table. Let's go in the next cell. We are making this JSON more complicated. As you can see, we have few key value pair content, and we are taking one new key cars and we are putting multiple values into it as a list. So we have a list which is having multiple values, and I want to show you how we can read this kind of files into Databricks. We have second JSON file which is already uploaded into DBFS location. Let's execute the cell. We are displaying our data frame DF object. Now you can see we have three columns created out of the JSON file, and if you see cars column, we have multiple values available inside a list. So it's treating all the values direct, one column. Let's go in the next cell. We are making JSON more complicated. So what we have right now, we are taking a single column name with the key, but we are repeating multiple values into it. So if you see ID, then we have two values for that one, and two, if you see age, then we have 25 and 30 in both records. So we have multiple records available for file. We already have this file into DBFS location as third JSON. Let's execute the cell, and we are printing our data DF object. As you can see, we are having multiple records and few columns out of it. We have multiple records available in the result set. Let's go in the next cell. We are making JSON more complicated now. As you can see, we have multiple key value pairs available, but additionally, we are adding a list of values into one particular key scores, which is how we insert multiple records into JSON and having a list of values into one particular column. So you can see we have 85, 90 and 88 into a single list. We have uploaded this JSON file into DBFS location. Let's execute this cell. We have multiple records available, but in our last column, we have a list of values available into one single column, which is not a good idea. We can improve that result at later on in this video. Let's go in the next cell. We want to talk about explode function. An explode function can be used with multiple different kind of values. We are using for list of values in the cell. As you have seen, we can have multiple values in a single list in a single column. So if you want to create new columns as per new values, then we can use explode function. An explode function can be used to transform a single column values into multiple columns, which can be done by row-wise and also can be done for column-wise. And if we use explode function normally, then by default, it works with the rows. So you can see we have explode function, and we want to provide the column name which has multiple values, which is scores column. And if they want to drop that existing column, then we can also use the drop function, which we are already using. Let's execute this cell. As you can see, we have multiple records created for first three values. Same. City and ID name column values are repeating, and we have created a new record for the same existing record. This doesn't look good because it's creating new data and also creating duplication of records. So we will focus more on another kind of explode which works with columns. Let's go in the next cell. Here, we are trying to use explode function as creating new columns rather than creating new records. So you can see what we have is first we need to find out what column we want to use. Where we have multiple values, then find out the maximum length of list of value inside that column. We also need to find the max length for each of the rows because we can have different size of list inside any of the record. Once we have maximum length of values available within scores, then we can make a loop on that and we can create new column with column method. As you can, we are creating new column, which is score_1 or score_2, like this. Let's execute the cell. As you can see, we have multiple columns created with _1 and _2, and we can see our data which is already split into multiple columns and each values available into each column. Let's go in the next cell where we are creating JSON more complicated. So as you can see, we have nested key value pair with the name of details, and in details key, we are taking a list and few other columns like grade and attendance. So if you have this kind of complicated JSON, then you can use the similar functionality. So as you can see, we are displaying our data frame, df, and you can see details, column is created, and we have all the data available within the details column. Yes, right now, we have all the details column and all the nested JSON details column is available inside one column, which is not a good way to display or work with nest JSON. Further, we can remove all the data available in the details column and we can put different values into separate columns. Let's see how we can create separate columns out of a nested JSON. Let's go in the next cell where we want to specify the next JSON into different separate columns if you want, and we can use and modify the columns in the data frame. So now you need to use some kind of functionality by which you can explore each and every column to create new columns, and for that we are doing flatten. With the select method, as you can see out of details key, we are taking each column one by one and we are creating a new column out of details key. If you want, then you can also create new other columns manually. That's all we have for this video. I hope you learned something about Databricks. See you in the next video.